The Boeing 777 departed from Kuala Lumpur with 239 people on board on 8 March 2014, but 40 minutes into what should have been a 6-hour flight to Beijing, the plane diverted from its scheduled route and flew towards the southern Indian Ocean, where it disappeared from radars. According to retired British aerospace engineer and physicist Richard Godfrey, Flight 370 could have fallen into the ocean about 1,200 miles west from Perth, Australia, and some 13,123 feet under the water in an area known as the Seventh Arc. Well, stay tuned to the video and watch the video till the end. Hello guys, welcome to Mayday Investigation. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications to get new updates about plane crashes and basically anything around air crash investigation. Hit the like button to show your support. And in this video, we are going to talk about Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. So without any further ado, let's begin. Hundreds of people helped search more than 120,000 square kilometers of the southern Indian Ocean seafloor. They mapped the area, tried to trace debris back to its origin, and prepared for a recovery mission before the search was suspended at the start of 2017. In its closing report, the ATSB explained its scientific processes and professed very human emotions while talking directly to the family of the disappeared. We share your profound and prolonged grief and deeply regret that we have not been able to locate the aircraft, nor those 239 souls on board that remain missing. The report says it is almost inconceivable and certainly societally unacceptable in the modern aviation era for a large commercial aircraft to be missing and for the world not to know with certainty what became of the aircraft and those on board. On March 15, a week after the plane had disappeared, the Inmarsat contact was disclosed. Analysis of the signal could not locate the plane precisely but did determine that the plane might have been anywhere on two arcs, one stretching from Java southward into the Indian Ocean southwest of Australia and the other stretching northward across Asia from Vietnam to Turkmenistan. The search area was then expanded to the Indian Ocean southwest of Australia on the southern arc and Southeast Asia, Western China, the Indian subcontinent, and Central Asia of the northern arc. The mystery surrounding MH370 has been a focus of continued investigation and a source of sometimes feverish public speculation. The lost devastated families on 4 continents. The idea that a sophisticated machine, which is modern instruments and redundant communications, could simply vanish seems beyond the realm of possibility. A Boeing 777 is meant to be electronically accessible at all times. The disappearance of the airplane has provoked a host of theories. Many are preposterous. All are given life by the fact that, in this age, commercial airplanes don't just vanish. On March 24, Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak announced that, based on an analysis of the final signals, Inmarsat and the UK Air Accidents Investigation Branch AAIB had concluded that the flight crashed in a remote part of the Indian Ocean, 2,500 kilometers southwest of Australia. The engineer's new proposal is a circle radius of 40 nautical miles. Far smaller than previous searches. The wreckage could be behind a cliff or in a canyon on the ocean floor, he said, and you need maybe 3 or 4 passes before you start to pick things up. The wreckage could lie as far as 4,000 meters deep, he added. More than 30 pieces of aircraft debris has been washed up on the beaches of the African coast and islands in the Indian Ocean. Some had speculated that the passengers were still alive but could not answer their cell phones, sometimes known as the phantom cell phone theory. This was based on early reports that family members of Flight 370 passengers heard ringing, as opposed to a busy/off signal, while calling the passengers' phones, though this was after the disappearance. However, this was later challenged by Jeff Kagan, a wireless analyst, who in an email to NBC News explained that the network may still produce ring back as it searches for a connection. Even if the cell phone had been destroyed, the secret of what happened in the final moments of the ill-fated flight and the motive behind it all probably died with its passengers and pilot. But the 60 Minutes team, which included aviation specialists, the former Australian Transport Safety Bureau chief in charge of the investigating MH370's crash, and an oceanographer, put forth what they believe is the most likely theory. They suspect that the plane's 2014 disappearance and apparent crash was a suicide by the 53-year-old Zahari and a premeditated act of mass murder. But first, the experts said they believe that Zahari depressurized the plane, knocking out anyone aboard who wasn't wearing an oxygen mask. That would explain the silence from the plane as it veered wildly, of course. No mayday from the craft's radio, no final goodbye texts, no attempted emergency calls that failed to connect. The thing that gets discussed the most is that at the point where the pilot turned the transponder off, he depressurized the airplane, which would disable the passengers, said Larry Vance, a veteran aircraft investigator from Canada. He was killing himself. Unfortunately, he was killing everyone else on board, and he did it deliberately. In July 2018, the Malaysian government, which has largely taken the responsibility for investigating the disappearance, issued what it said was its final report on the fate of the plane. Malaysia's Transport Minister, Anthony Loke, had promised total transparency in the document, with no redactions or obfuscations, but it wasn't able to answer the fundamental question of what happened to the plane. More than 150 passengers were Chinese. There were also 38 Malaysians, 7 Indonesians, 6 Australians, and several passengers from a host of other countries, including France and the US. 12 crew members were on board as well. The final voice communication from the cockpit, less than an hour after takeoff, was "Good night, Malaysian 370." The West Australian aviation editor Geoffrey Thomas had described the new report as a huge breakthrough. This is because the suggested crash location is in the zone where the University of Western Australia UWA head of oceanography Professor Charitha Patriachi had earlier claimed MH370 is located. What's very interesting about it is the location identified by Richard Godfrey is extremely close to the location identified by UWA. He told Sunrise, "It really is more evidence that where UWA said the airplane is, that's where we have to have another good hard look." Thomas said, "It's likely a new search for the plane will be launched following the report's release." FBI teams and Interpol personnel flew in to assist, with 9 countries contributing to the initial search. 40 ships worked around the clock, and 34 aircrew flew during daylight hours. A total of 26 countries eventually pitched in as the search area widened. They found nothing. Mr. Godfrey is now analyzing the WSPR links MH370 crossed in the region of Malaysia and Indonesia. But there is much more air traffic. Fortunately, the location of almost all of the other traffic is contained in ATSB databases and flight plans that have been filed. Despite the efforts of one of the largest and most expensive searches, so much information remains unknown. If the plane's route were to be established by the future investigation, or the plane itself were to be found, it could provide clues about whether it was deliberately heading somewhere, or whether there was an accident like a loss of oxygen. We also don't know which of the pilots was flying the plane when it disappeared, or whether it was someone else. Now that we've come to the end of this video, I want to thank you for sticking with me, and I'd love to know what you think of it. Just comment down below. Also, if you like this video, make sure to like it and stay safe. Today's video is over, but if you want to see more, there's one on your screen right now. And there are a few more videos coming soon about air crash investigation. I'll see you in the next video.